In our videos on the topic of managing our body fat stores, we learned that one of the key elements of that management was understanding the concept of energy balance. This concept teaches us that energy is measured in calories of heat generated by a food or an activity, and that fat storage is a clinical situation in which energy intake in calories exceeds energy output in calories. To manage fat stores in our body, we must therefore understand the components of energy output, which are resting metabolism calories, activity calories, and calories generated by the digestive process. And also, we have to understand the concept of energy intake, calories coming from our food. To the extent that we understand both of these concepts, we are likely to find success in controlling our fat storage over our entire lifetime. In this video, we will begin our journey toward better understanding of the calories generated by our intake of food. All foods provide energy, some lots of energy and others very little. To manage our fat, which is stored energy, we must first understand the mathematics of our source of energy, our food. It turns out that all of our food is composed of at least one or combinations of four basic food building blocks. They are proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and alcohol. Most foods also contain fiber and water, but neither of these provide any calories of energy. The big four, as I often call them, provide all of our food energy, and each of them has its own unique energy value, measured in calories per gram of the nutrient. We must learn these energy values if we hope to be successful in managing our storage of fat. Protein generates 4 calories of energy per gram of protein in any food. Carbohydrates also generates 4 calories of energy per gram of carbohydrate in the food. Fat generates 9 calories per gram of fat present in the food, and alcohol generates 7 calories per gram of alcohol in any drink. Because of their varied energy values in calories generated per gram of nutrient, we have to know 3 important things as we attempt to manage our fat storage. First, we need to know the composition of any given food. In other words, which nutrients are present in this food. Secondly, we need to know how many grams of any given nutrient are present in an ounce of a certain food. Finally, we need to know how many ounces of total food are present with this mixture of nutrients. By this time, you may be saying, well, it would be impossible for me to memorize all of the grams per ounce of nutrients in all of the stuff that I eat, and you'd probably be correct. Nevertheless, many wonderful people have worked hard to help guys like me come close to knowing exactly what nutrients are in a food and how many ounces of food are present. I unfortunately did not have much understanding of these things even long after I'd finished medical school. The same may be the case for most physicians entering the public at the present time. I'm here to tell you, however, that anyone can learn enough of the facts about foods to allow him or her to walk through the aisles of any grocery store or any buffet at a large restaurant and have a good idea of how much food is present, what nutrients are in the food, and how much of each nutrient. It sounds difficult, but it really is not. There are probably lots of ways to teach this stuff. Hopefully this one will be useful for those of you viewing this video series. First, we need to be able to identify what nutrient mixture is in any given food. We human beings tend to organize our foods into the following major groupings: fruits, grains, vegetables, meat and eggs, dairy products, condiments, and drinks. There may possibly be a couple of other groupings, but these are the most of what you and I'd find at a local grocery store. Let's analyze what nutrients are in each of these groups. First, we'll discuss fruits. Fruits are foods that grow mostly on trees and consist of water, fiber, and in most cases carbohydrates. There are a few fruits that we call funny fruits because they also contain some fat. They include avocados, olives, coconuts, and all kinds of nuts. The vast majority of fruits contain only sugars, fibers, and water. Stuff like apples, grapes, peaches, plums, bananas, and blueberries fit into this category. Next are the grains. Grains all grow in the ground, not in trees, and include wheat, oats, barley, rye, quinoa, rice, millet, and a few other lesser-known plants. We use grains to make hundreds of products, including cakes, cookies, pies, bread, rolls, pancakes, biscuits, oatmeal, and a host of others. Almost all of every grain product is made of carbohydrates, with various amounts of fiber and water, and a small amount of protein mixed in. There may be a tiny amount of fat included, but most discussion of grains will not include any fat unless we add the fat to the grain. In other words, oatmeal is carbohydrate mixed with water, while pie crust is carbohydrate mixed with oil. Vegetables all are plants that grow in or on the ground and are again mixtures of fiber, water, and carbohydrates. For our discussion, vegetables are usually divided into starchy varieties like potatoes, peas, corn, sweet potatoes, and various beans, and non-starchy varieties like green beans, broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, beets, and dark green leafy things like lettuce and cabbage. All of these vegetable items contain water, fiber, and carbohydrates, with tiny amounts of protein. Vegetables almost never contain any fat. Next, we have meats and eggs. Meats come from the flesh of living creatures, and all contain mixtures of protein, fat, and water. They may, in rare cases such as liver, contain some carbohydrate. For this discussion, we should consider meats to be made of protein, water, and fat. As you are likely aware, different meat products contain huge variations in their fat content. Eggs, like meat, contain only protein and fat. They don't contain any carbohydrates unless we add them during the preparation and cooking processes. Next on our list is dairy products. Dairy products are unique in that they almost all contain some quantities of protein, carbohydrate, water, and fat. They are, therefore, the most difficult group to study and remember because of the variability of the nutrients in different dairy products. Condiments are included on our list because they are mixtures of the 4 basic nutrients, and we need to be able to estimate what's in them. For the most part, they contain carbohydrates and oil and water. Some, however, like mayonnaise, contain mixtures of egg protein, fat, and carbohydrates. So we simply have to get to know the various combinations of nutrients that may be in them if we're to understand how they affect our energy balance. The last major group we will discuss are drinks. Drinks of all kinds are mostly water, but we can mix a variety of other nutrients into the water and therefore affect our energy intake substantially. For instance, we can mix pure carbohydrate with water and get various kinds of fruit juices. We can ferment the fruits before putting them in the water and get various brandies and wine and other kinds of drinks. We can ferment grain carbohydrates, mix with water and get whiskey, rye, beer, gin, and others. We can even ferment vegetable carbohydrates like potatoes and cactus, mix them with water, and get vodka and tequila. To understand the energy balance coming from these, we have to know not only what was fermented, but how much alcohol was added through the process to the basic water and carbohydrates in the drink. As we wrap up this basic discussion of food and drink, I encourage you to begin looking at foods and state which nutrients are present and approximately what percentage of a food is coming from each of the 4 nutrients. Once we get good at this skill, we'll be able to learn about how to estimate grams of each nutrient in the various groups of foods. We'll attack this challenge in our next nutrition video. See you then.